afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have some very exciting news, some long-awaited great news, and there's late-breaking news. I know you want to hear this, and frankly, some of the details are so new that I want to hear them too. We are having a ceremony this afternoon, in spite of Mother Nature, to celebrate the groundbreaking of a new graduate housing facility, a much-needed graduate housing facility here at the Fruit Research and Extension Center of Penn State University. And I want to first call up Dr. Larry Hall, Professor Emeritus of Entomology, to give you a quick history of what this is about and how we got here. And I'll let him follow up with the next speakers and so on and so forth. But so your attention, please. Dr. Hall.
Thank you, Jim. Good afternoon, everyone, and again, welcome to Penn State's biannual Grower Field Day. It's such a great pleasure to be back here. I have attended many of these over the last almost 40 years. And the two ladies, before I get started though, the two ladies that are passing out the handouts, would you please begin passing those out to the group? Because some of the comments I'm going to make, and they're going to go very quickly, are in the handout. And there's another important page to that handout. So if they would please pass that out, I'd really appreciate it. Mother Nature has thrown us a curveball, but typically, as we have over many, many years, we'll survive that curveball, and we will do that again this afternoon. Before we get started on the long-awaited groundbreaking ceremony for our new graduate housing center here at Freck, both Phil Balker and I would like to take a few minutes to tell you about the workings of the Capital Campaign Committee, sponsored by SHAP, that was appointed by the Board of Directors of SHAP to help us secure the necessary funding that will support the construction and furnishings of the new graduate housing center. And we are going to have that groundbreaking ceremony in a few minutes. However, before I do that though, I would like to spend a few minutes telling you about the history of the graduate housing center here at Freck, the impacts and benefits of the many graduate students who have lived in the two trailers that are behind me, and many of you have likely seen those, and all the postdoctoral scholars that we have employed here. Many of them lived in there as well. And I want to tell you about how that group, the graduate students and the postdoctoral scholars, have enhanced the value of Penn State Freck to the university and certainly to the fruit industry throughout the Mid-Atlantic and in many cases throughout the United States. So I'm going to quickly go through the handout if you would allow me. Hopefully many of you have that in hand. This is a PowerPoint presentation. I've modified it considerably that Jim Shoup and I put together to help explain this whole situation, and we've used that a couple times already this spring. But you can see there on the one handout on the front page, it says graduate housing at Penn State Freck. I was here in 1980 when George Green, Ken Hickey, and myself put up some money to put into two house trailers that we've used for graduate housing. The administration at Penn State, the college, and the department heads all threw in some money, and we were able to buy those two graduate houses. And they've housed a lot of graduate students and postdocs over the years. During the time that these two houses were here, we mentored over 32 graduate students. We mentored 7 postdoctoral candidates or scientists. They are people who have their PhD and are hunting for further experience, and they really were a great boon to my particular program because I was the one that employed all the postdocs while they were here. And we also had a number of visiting scientists as well. Unfortunately, in 2014, the two trailers down below me are no longer fit for living, and they're no longer cost efficient to repair. So we started a capital campaign to replace them, and we'll tell you more about that in a few minutes. But the impacts of having graduate students and postdocs here are tremendous. They've really impacted the study of all the sciences that are conducted here at the laboratory. The graduate research has certainly benefited the fruit industry, and I'll talk more about that. And it's certainly enhanced our value of the FREC to Penn State University to support the three major missions of Penn State in teaching, research, and extension. Having graduate students here and postdocs here are like putting another scientist right here at the laboratory. That's how important graduate students are, the significance of their work. They get down and do the nitty-gritty type of research that we as faculty members really don't have time to do during our tenure here. So graduate students and postdocs are really, really important to the advancement of science at this particular place. How have they benefited us? We've benefited from a lot of research on pesticide resistance through the years, insecticides, acaricides, fungicides, what have you. They helped me out tremendously in biological mite control. They helped me out in all the pheromone mating disruption research and implementation of that project. And certainly the benefits of all this research has not only gone to the people in the audience here in the state of Pennsylvania, but the Mid-Atlantic, and much of it's been adopted at various parts of the United States and even around the world. It certainly enhanced the value of FREC by having students here to Penn State, both in research and extension. It made our scientists, we were able to get a lot more grants by having graduate students here and postdocs here to help us do that kind of research. It certainly benefited the faculty that were here going through the tenure promotion project process by having graduate students here to mentor. And we've provided essential training. I mean, there's not a lot of graduate students in tree fruit and sciences being trained anymore across the United States. We're one of the few institutions, so certainly Cornell has a great program in tree fruits, Washington State, Michigan State, but Penn State is really one of the premier institutions for training graduate students and postdocs. And almost all the graduate students and postdocs have gone on to be leaders at respective institutions, other land grants, USDA, some are working at USDA, but some are working at USDA EPA. They've gone on to work for various chemical companies throughout the region, and some of them have gone on to work in our own state agency, the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture here. I constantly was getting phone calls, do I have any students that are finishing from chemical companies? Because they know the kind of training that we provide here, really hands-on training, down doing a lot of applied research, and the companies have recognized that, and they are constantly looking for our graduate students. So the goal of the capital campaign, obviously, is to replace the housing we need here to house future graduate students and other postdocs and help them collaborate with the scientists here at the laboratory. So with that, our goal is to raise $260,000. We are on our way, but at this point, I would like to turn it over to Phil Balker for a few other comments to help explain this capital campaign a little bit further. Phil?
Well, this all happened rather quickly. Back in October, we were asked to bring some industry leadership together to discuss the possibilities of the industry stepping up and supporting a project to build graduate housing. That was October. In December, we met with some of the folks from the development office of Penn State, and our response was, we think we can make this happen. So the mechanics of the whole process has been, the State Board Association of Pennsylvania has an endowment program thanks to the generous contributions of many over probably 25 years, there was an endowment fund of approximately $350,000. We met with the endowment committee at Hershey, and the trustees of the endowment committee approved the purchase and gifting of this housing unit to Penn State. In turn, the State Horse Association appointed a capital campaign committee, and I did agree to chair that. And I think there's 9 or 10 members of that committee. To date, we've raised $145,000 in pledges. It's a 3-year pledge, it's tax deductible, and it's payable to the endowment fund. We made a promise to the endowment committee that we would make all efforts to bring that fund back to its previous level of $350,000. And we're well on our way to do that. We're fortunate that we have the endowment program because that was the vehicle by which we could make this all happen. And because it is a gift to the university from our industry. Now, I do have some exciting news to share with you today. One of the people who spearheaded this was a gentleman by the name of Bob Hodge. He was actually president of the State Horse Association back in the 70s. He was very active. He got into construction and development and various other enterprises. But his love was always horticulture and the tree fruit industry. And he saw the need and said, this is something that we ought to try to make happen. He's been very generous. He's been a very generous donor to Penn State University over the years. And I talked to Bob today. He's had some back surgery and he doesn't get out and about like he used to. I wish he could have been here today, but he told me on the phone today that he would match dollar for dollar up to $20,000 of all pledges that were made at this event today. So if we can get that accomplished here today, we're going to boost that number up by $40,000 and approaching $200,000. And if that can happen, I feel very confident that our capital campaign committee can successfully reach the goals that we set out to reach. So we've passed around the handout and the pledge card, and on behalf of the capital campaign committee, I ask you to consider a generous contribution to the State Horse Association Endowment Fund in an effort to replenish this. It's a 3-year pledge, and for today's event, we do have a dollar for dollar match of up to $20,000 for Mr. Hodge. So, thank you, everyone. I would like to turn this. Dr. Gary Thompson, who is, I'm sorry, Dean Rich Roush, and I'm sure you have a few comments.
I'll be really brief. This is an amazing announcement. I'm going to join in the pledge. I'll kick in today as well. So, look, I just wanted to comment on this briefly. This is a fantastic thing for students. I can tell you from my own personal experience. I worked at the Horticultural Experiment Station south of Fresno, the University of California has, in between my undergraduate and graduate career. And I was going to work down there for 5 months. And I spent about 7 weeks before I got down there trying to find housing. And literally, I found a place to live a couple of days before I started. Otherwise than that, I would have been driving. I would have driven to Fresno or something. It was going to be like 30, 40 miles. Having something like this on the site really opens up the opportunities for students. And I know that all of you will have been impressed today at the kinds of contributions that are being made by the young people here. They're more than just sort of the people who do it. They're the engine room of a lot of discovery that we have in the college. So this is a really fantastic thing. And I'm really very grateful to the Capital Campaign for what they did. Now, I only wanted to put my 2 cents worth to say thanks and a personal experience, but I really want to pass it over to Gary Thompson, because he's the person who's done the hard work, I think, within the college office, at least, to make this all happen. So Gary Thompson is the Associate Dean for Research and Graduate Training. So I'd like to pass it on to Gary.
say because, you know, he's really covered it. I do want to recognize a couple of other people. Mark Tice, I want to start off with Mark. Mark is our development officer, and Mark and I actually embarked on this adventure about 2 years ago. I embarked on it about 4 years ago when I came here, and I was told about the condition of the trailers and that we really needed to start thinking about how to replace them. Well, 1 year went by, we better think a little harder. Another year went by, we really better start thinking about this. Then I get a call from Jim saying, well, we're going to have to shut one down because it's no longer habitable. We've got to do something. Mark and I started working on this. We started thinking about how we could do it. We actually went out to see Bob Lodge out at his place on the shore and spent the afternoon talking with him about this. And Bob, if you know Bob, he's a bit of a wheeler dealer, and he'll get it done, and he'll tell you how to get it done. And he told us how to get it done. He said, I'm behind you. I'll stay behind you, and I'll keep behind you. But I'll be sure that you can get this done one way or another. And so we had that confidence that we had Bob behind us, and Bob was going to really help us put this together. And then last fall, Bob kind of said, you know, we're really getting down to the point where we need to make some decisions on this. And he said, I'd like to see the industry participate in this as well. And that's when we talked with SHAP, we talked with other members of the industry, and we said, well, we have this option. I can go out with my budget and replace the 2 trailers. We can do that. That's not really a very inviting thing to do. And we decided, no, the research committee said, that's not really what we want to do. We wanted to see if we can figure out a way to get behind this, to raise the money to get this done. You see today, just from all of the presentations that we've had today, you've seen the quality of the graduate students here. Not only the quality, but the comfort level at talking about their work and really explaining it in a very understandable way, but not without losing the science behind it, the depth of the information. You don't see that very often, and you don't see it in a lot of places. And that's what makes this place special. It's what makes Freck special, is we have resident faculty here doing work, and we have resident students. Now, not only do we have students in the summer, which is what we've had, but we hope with this facility that we can have students here year-round working. We also hope that we have visiting scientists that come and stay. We hope we have students from other institutions that can come here and take advantage of this amazing facility that we have here. So we're really excited that in December, and really by the time we got down to the Hershey convention, that we had the announcement that the State Horticultural Society was going to step up and they were going to fund this completely. An amazing contribution to the university, and we're really forever grateful. And I look around at the people who made that happen and just want to give you a great thank you for taking this leap of faith with us and providing such a great facility at a great facility. It's just going to make it even better. So with that, we come today, and we're going to have our groundbreaking today. And the other person that I want to recognize, and I'm sorry, I just spotted him, and I need to call him out. Brad Smith, raise your hand higher so everybody can see you. Brad's the guy who makes it go through Penn State, which is no easy feat. Anybody who works for the university knows that putting something together like this, especially that involves buildings, that involves excavation, anything of putting something this together is not an easy thing to get through the Penn State system. And Brad has really worked wonders to make this happen for us and to get this done. So thank you, Brad. With that, I think we're done.
Yeah, thanks. I'll be brief. Just a couple of quick comments. If West Virginia had this 30 years ago. If Penn State had this 30 years ago, I wouldn't go to West Virginia. My choices were, when I applied for grad school, it was either these trailers or bunk beds in a shack. And I asked them if the shack had wheels, and they said no. And that was my decision making. But on a more serious note, for those of you that do not know me, my name is Mervyn D'Souza, Vice President, Technical Services at Nouse Foods. Initially, our president, Mr. Ken Geist, was invited, and if he were able to make it, he would. But on his behalf, I am here. We're a proud supporter of this event. On behalf of the Nouse Board of Directors, senior management, and our president, we're really excited about this venture and looking forward not only to the building, but also to having graduate students take advantage of this facility, and maybe 20, 30 years from now, you'd have someone standing here telling the story that similar to the one that I am. So, thank you.
Katie Epstein, Ag Choice Farm Credit.
Well, on behalf of the Board of Directors and our CEO, Daryl Curtis, Ag Choice Farm Credit is very excited to be a part of this project as well. We certainly enjoy the role that we play in the fruit industry as far as providing capital and crop insurance and other business services, but also understand that that's just one aspect of the many facets of the fruit industry. And this research lab here, as well as the resources that the housing is going to provide, is going to go a long way in supporting the fruit industry here in Pennsylvania and across the region. And Ag Choice couldn't be more excited to be a part of that. Thank you.
One of our other members of our capital campaign committee that's been extremely generous with his time, talents, and treasures is John Rice from Rice Fruit Company. John was called away and can't be with us this afternoon, but I wanted to acknowledge the generosity of John and Rice Fruit Company as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's some shovels and some dirt between us and dinner. What do you say we break some ground?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Almost like my yard.
I don't think so. Yeah, just put it.
Okay.
You actually want soil. You actually want the soil. Okay. We good?
I just practiced it. When I'm told to dig it home, I just did.
Yeah. Somebody. Yeah, he's still denying
Send the
it.
students.
Hey, Larry? Yeah, Larry should be right here.
Larry Hall,
Come on.
Larry Hall. Now you know you were supposed to be in that picture.
We've got him.
He's
We've got another
he's
job.
got everything he needs, including a shovel. You can,
Hard hat.
I don't want
Secretary,
a hard
yeah, there you go.
hat. You look good. That's my good hat. That's my rain hat.
Shovel for
Yeah,
you.
hey, yeah.
There we go. I'll help Jim. All right.
So 5 years from now, they're going to wonder where these gold shovels came.
That's right. Let me ask a question. When's the completion date?
When's the completion date, Brad?
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
That's a political answer.
Spoken like a true diplomat.
Oh, your hat.
Yeah, I got a big head or a,
Wow.
oh, wow.
Big head or a small hat.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Has everybody got the pictures that they need?
I doubt it. We got it? Very good. Fill your divot.
I should talk to this guy who navigates, you know, when the rain is.
Yeah.